Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Hey Oilers fans, welcome back to Game Over Edmonton. I'm back with my boy Zach. It's been a little while since I had a show on, but hey Zach, thank you so much for covering, especially over the last couple of days when I've been feeling pretty down. Thank you so much, man, for carrying the show. But we're back.
Yes.
And we get to talk about an Oilers win for once. I feel so bad because every time we leave or something like that and you're on your own for a little bit, the Oilers just seem to stink.
I'm cursed, dude. I do not understand. I said this to you before the show, but I feel like all of my past 5 broadcasts have just been so overly negative that when I got in the waiting room here, I was just trying to be so positive, like almost to the point of toxic positivity, you know? But yeah, this was a finally a game where I'm not pulling my hair out at the end of the third period, you know? Just a game. It's nice. Was there a few rough patches sprinkled in here and there? Absolutely. We'll get into all that, I'm sure. But for the most part, smooth sailing. The Oilers never let up on their lead. It was always roughly around 2 goals, and it was just a great game.
There were 10 minutes in the start of the second where I went, oh no, here it comes again. You know, every time the Oilers have a 2-minute or 2-goal lead, I just think to myself and go, all right, they're going to mess this up somehow. Unless we pound in like 4 goals, 5-goal leads, I just don't feel secure as an Oilers fan, right? I got some comments in chat already. Thank you so much. Black Masakari, Lindsay, I am feeling good. I'm ready to get the show on going with Zach. But hey, first, got to pay the sponsor. Hey, think you know what way it's going to go? Make your bet with Sports Interaction. Whether it's hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Bet pregame, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets, Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus, please play responsibly. As Zach is already in chat, riving up the crowd here. 55 likes. Can we do it tonight?
Yeah, we can do it.
Let's get that Holloway 55.
We have to. For Dylan. We can't end the stream until we get 55. No way.
He was so good tonight, eh?
I feel like he's been playing this good for the last 5 or 6 games. It's just tonight he got rewarded for it. That's the only difference. Is tonight the puck went in the net, and it's funny enough. It's on he scored his 2 goals and like the 2 best goalies in the league, right? And other than that, he's just been getting. I don't even know. Just had crap luck, pretty much. Like that's the best way I could put it.
Maybe it's something with like Russian goaltenders, you know? He's just
maybe.
Like, hey, he only scores against Russians.
There was some Russian on Russian violence tonight between Alex Romanov and Klim Kostin. It was on the Ukrainian national night. There was a lot of stuff going on. But yeah,
there was a lot of tension, and hey, yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about Klim Kostin later on tonight because what a story he's been for oil country. Wanted to focus back up quickly on Dylan Holloway. 9 minutes and 46 seconds tonight. Let's start seeing those numbers rise. Do you remember earlier on we were talking about Holloway getting 6 minutes a night, going like, hey, let's just send the guy down. He's looking good.
I'm shocked, to be honest with you, that it's only 9:46. It felt like he was always on the ice. Like I'm frankly, that number surprises me more than any other ice time number tonight. Also, Niemelainen only 3 minutes on the ice tonight.
It's weird, right?
He didn't get hurt.
He didn't get hurt. No,
okay,
I feel like he was playing the whole time. It's just weird because Broberg had a good night, and I think that might be why.
One of his best nights in the NHL probably since the game against Vegas last year.
Yeah, and there was so much going into this game that we were talking about 11-7. Mm-hmm. Woody's up to his old tricks, and Manson finally has a control over this game again. But yeah, suddenly that's not the tale when you look at these numbers.
Fogel out of the game, so they do go 11-7. Now, was he injured? Was he just healthy scratch? That I heard conflicting reports. So that I'm frankly unsure about. So I don't really want to speculate. But the good thing about when they go 11-7, you noticed it early on, is Dylan Holloway, Derek Ryan on the fourth line, instead of playing with a Janmark or a Costin or whatever, they're playing with a McDavid or a Draisaitl or a Nugent-Hopkins, and it allows Holloway to create so much more. Even a Ryan McLeod to a lesser extent. Like you saw, Ryan McLeod and Dylan Holloway are developing a nice little chemistry. Like McLeod got robbed by Sorokin a number of times later on in the game. But overall, yeah, Dylan Holloway, phenomenal. That 11-7 is really good. But
Yeah.
but when Woodcroft, the only flaw I can have with it is when Woodcroft goes and you're playing a guy only 3 minutes, you're pretty much just playing short a guy, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the one.
But here's the weird thing, right? Like it's Niemelainen's only playing 3 minutes, but those are 3 minutes where he didn't really make a whole lot of mistakes, right?
Mhm.
So if you count that as a sort of, hey, we're sheltering a guy, I get it. If you instead put his minutes at like what 6 minutes and he ends up making one mistake, there's something to be said about that from a coaching perspective, right? Just I'm trying to be as relentlessly positive as possible.
Well, yeah, no, for me, I can't say that I noticed anything from Marcus Niemelainen, like
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like maybe I missed something or whatnot. He was right around 50% expected goals, which is actually the second lowest on the Oilers tonight. They violated the New York Islanders 5-on-5. Like if I was the Islanders, I'd be leaving Edmonton filing a police report. This is not
Ooh.
this is
But yeah,
dangerous.
agreed. Like the Oilers took a lot of control this game, and we had talk right over the past couple of days that they had a players only meeting. Woody just absolutely roasted the guys. There was all this discussion, and they weren't talking about all-star voting. They were talking about how poorly they played that just a couple nights ago, and the fact that they came together, came out of the gate flying hard. Once again, that was one of the issues that we talked about early on this series of podcasts, was the slow starts for the Oilers. They seem to have fixed that issue.
Well,
There was a little hiccup, but
They
other than that,
definitely fixed the slow start issue. For the last 5 games, they've been starting awesome and then leaving early. You know what I
Yes.
mean, right? Like they've just been the last 4 of the last 5 games they lost. They blew I think I want to say at least a 1-goal lead. I want to say most of them are multi-goal leads.
yeah, they showed the stat on, I think, during the intermission, or second period. It was out of the last 5 home games, there were like 3 that were 2-goal leads that they threw away. Overall, I think they had like 4 games out of that 5-game homestand where they straight up got ahead and then left and didn't play the game. There was one where I think they just kind of got outskilled. But all in all, like the Oilers have to play like this on a regular night. And
Agreed.
you look at McDavid's time on ice tonight. He played 24 minutes. You don't want him doing that all the time, but he was getting double shifted a lot, right?
That's the 11-7 factor right
Yeah.
there. He was, and also because he's playing on the penalty kill, he spent over 2 minutes of that shorthanded, right? Like you're asking a lot from Connor McDavid. If there's anyone in the NHL who's capable of doing it, it also is Connor McDavid. He was an absolute physical beast tonight. This was shades of like Game 7 against LA Connor McDavid, right? You could tell whatever was said in that players only meeting, they really took it to heart, because not only Connor, this might have been Leon's best defensive game of the year. Like Leon, I know there's been speculation, is he hurt, this, that, all these different little issues with Leon, what's going on with him. Frankly, he's been putting up the points that's never been an issue with him, but there's been something left to be desired with his defensive play throughout the year. And this is a night where he looked a little bit more mobile. Like, I don't know if it was the fire they just lit under his butt, if he was trying to set an example for his teammates, if he was what he was doing. But tonight, Leon, I think he led the Oilers in expected goals. I think he had over an expected goal himself. A full goal. But yeah, no, Leon was awesome. Like, again, from top to bottom, every single player showed up tonight to play. And we can run through the game, the goal by goal or whatever you want to do if you want. But for me, in the second period, there was the first 5 minutes of that second period when they come into the break, similar to the game against Seattle, where Seattle comes and ties it, whatever, comes back and tie it. the Islanders come out, and who gets the goal? It was Matthew Barzal. Matthew Barzal scores on Edmonton, and
That
it's
was
2-1.
early into the second, yeah.
Exactly. And you could feel the reeling start. I want to say it was the very next shift, Andersley right off the post, right? That goes in the net. It's a completely different game, right? Those guys, like, you see.
Here's the weird thing, right? I tweeted out, I think, during the first intermission, that I would just be irate if the Oilers came out after a firing, like, 20 minutes, just absolutely dominant first period, if they just came out and forgot how to play hockey. Like, if they don't play for the rest of the 40 minutes. And the first 10 minutes of the second period, it was almost like that had happened, because every pass just had no strength behind it. There was no oomph. They were so weak and easy to intercept.
Agreed.
A lot of passes went, like, into the body and the players had to wait for it to drop onto their stick. So many things like that happened for the first 10 minutes, and the Oilers just couldn't break out.
It to me, that's so obviously mental. Like, they just see the goal and they all clench their butt cheeks and they hold their sticks a bit tighter, and they just get so rattled from that one goal. And it wasn't McDavid who turned it around. It wasn't Draisaitl. It wasn't Nurse. It wasn't Nuge. It was Dylan Holloway with the kids out there with Yamamoto, McLeod, Broberg. The two Holland draft picks combined for a goal. Fantastic. First time in literally his GM tenure that I've ever said that. And
don't praise them too much. We still need a couple of trades along the way here.
And from that point on, it was pretty much smooth sailing. Yeah, Kyle Clutterbuck scored a goal that you probably would like Jack Campbell to save, but at the end of the day, he had above a 900 save percentage, like Hater McDader says in the chat. That's all you can ask for. You'll never hear a complaint about me from Jack Campbell if the save percentage starts with a 9. If it starts with a 9, the Oilers are capable of winning. And like you said earlier, this is the type of performance that it might, like, this was such a domination, and this might seem like harsh for any other team or out of line to say, but this shouldn't be just a fantastic game. This shouldn't be an outlier. This type of performance has to be the norm. They are capable of this night in and night out when everyone shows up to play. But when you just see lackadaisical efforts and they just come in believing that they should win rather than coming in on like an even playing field and understanding that they need to work in order to win, you're not going to get efforts like this. And you could tell I keep going back to that coach's meeting, whatever was said there completely changed the outlook of the team. And to me, I know we said this multiple times, but to me, this has the potential to be a real turning point on the season, right?
I mean, it seems like New York teams have that effect on the Oilers, right? For some reason, last time it was against the Rangers where they had to battle back and they fought hard, and it just sent them on a nice little winning streak for a couple of games after that. A couple of comments here. Soup needed that win. 20 saves tonight. Pretty good. 909 save percentage. Honestly, they're the ones that kind of got past him. They're more on the defense. The Barzal goal, like you mentioned, it was just like a bar down.
Well, to me, the Barzal goal. Okay, if we're gonna be really nitpicky, Jack Campbell has a tendency to go down really early. I've noticed in certain situations. That goal, Barzal had the whole top half of the net to shoot at, right? He did shoot it bar down because he's Matthew Barzal and he's super skilled, but he had about 35% of the net to actually put it in. But again, that's more, defensively, I would need to go back and watch the goal again. It was Barry and Kulak, I want to say, on the ice for that goal. And to me, it looked like they just didn't get forward support. It was just a 3-on-2, and the Islanders played it really well, and Campbell went down a bit early. I don't really have much of a complaint, if that makes sense. And I might have missed something, but
I think the first one for sure, it was a little bit of a just quick play the other way around. Like, it's tough as a defenseman. I think whoever it was laid down on that play, and it just obviously didn't work out for him. On the second goal, like that one's, it's tough. Cal Clutterbuck, he smoked, I think it was Ceci behind the net. But when they were kind of just transitioning out of that behind the net play, Barry and Ceci weren't talking, or they just missed the man, and Clutterbuck just skates right into open ice. no one's around him. He makes a beautiful chop, right?
Yeah.
That redirect of the shot passes is hard to do. I mean,
Totally.
for laymen like us. But yeah, that's something where if you had a D-man trying to box him out, or at least getting a little bit in the way, getting your stick on his, that makes that play a lot harder.
Again,
right?
if that's Stuart Skinner, we probably are upset that he let that in, right? I don't think Stuart Skinner lets that goal in. To be honest with you though, it's whatever. Campbell again got above a 900 save percentage. I heard on the broadcast they said Skinner started 14 out of the last 18 starts. Yeah. Campbell's got to get the ball rolling or else we're in serious trouble, right? Like Campbell needs to take a number of these starts here. And frankly, I really hope that he has earned a little bit more belief just within himself to have the confidence to go back out there and build on that. Because if Jack Campbell's at the top of his game, I think those are both plays or goals that he expects himself to make the save, right? So I think, going forward, I think this is all in all a really big positive, at least in terms of the play of the goaltender.
Honestly, yeah, I think here's another thing, right? Jack Campbell is a veteran now. You know, you got to put him in that position. He's got to be the guy that says, hey, Skinner's maybe not, he's fighting the puck a little bit now. So, you know what, kid? Like, I got your back. I'll be in there. If we don't get run support, if we get smoked or whatever, like, hey, that's on me. You just focus on getting yourself back into shape, resting, all of that good jazz. I'm here for it. If we can win, you know, that only helps his confidence, Campbell's confidence. But even if he's, you know, catching a few L's, he's like at a 500%, right? Like, that's fine. We just need Campbell to be average.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Rest up Stuart Skinner. I mean, honestly, 14 out of the last 18. Yeah, we overplayed him. And that's clearly one of the reasons why, you know, he maybe didn't have the greatest game last time.
What'd you think of Costin's play today in the top six?
You know what? I wanted to do a whole segment on Clem Costin, so hey, let's do it now, right? Obviously, this is his first game where he's getting shifts on the first line with Connor McDavid. During the pregame interview, he was saying, I'm a little stressed, like I'm a little nervous. You know, McDavid just told me, like, hey, just be in front of the net, I'll find you. That's something you love to see from the captain, right? Like this younger player who's just arrived in the city this season. Hey, I'll take care of you. Just get yourself into the simple, smart zones. Just play with your stick on the ice. I got you, man. I'll find you. And then the other thing is, Costin is just a fan favorite, like immediately. He just knows how to tug at the heartstrings of oil country. Oh, yeah. Jason Gregor today, he was talking to Costin, letting him know about how many Oilers fans just absolutely love him. And this is what he had to say. The fans are the most important thing in our sport. Everything we do is for the fans. I'm really happy they love me, and I want them to know I love them more than they do me. What a guy, right? Like, after our own heart, Clem Costin. Dude played amazing tonight. You know, he didn't look out of place right from the get-go. He looked like he belonged on that first line. Couple of big shots. I'm lucky to see him like get into those crease areas and not get hurt, because I've seen so many times, you know, a Ryan Smith standing in front of the net, eating a couple of shots in the chops, getting knocked down a little bit, getting like a shot to the face. But no, Costin was great in front of the net. Costin was great in the slot, and I think he overall banged the body, was physical, tried to contribute on the score sheet. Dude did everything he could. Dude, I loved him on that first line. The
evolution of Clem Costin's play since he got to Edmonton is something to watch, because like he's kept the same streak of that physicality since he's gotten here, but where he's really grown and faster than I think anyone would have expected is his ability to hang on to the puck and have confidence in the offensive zone, right? I remember that I can't remember if it was on the radio or on a broadcast or whatever, but they made a comment that Clem Costin after practice was working with Zach Hyman on his ability and just asking him how he protects the puck and what his skills, because Zach Hyman is one of the best people I've ever seen at defending the puck down low and keeping it away from the opposition, right? We call him the dog all the time. So to have Clem Costin, who's he's an absolute giant. You use that and just take that skill that he's learned and just run with it. Like I'm frankly shocked because I'm so used to watching McDavid play with guys like Alex Chason and Zach Cassian and just having these cinder blocks on his wing, right? Where he passes the puck and it kills the play immediately. And you get this guy who was on waivers and, who was pretty much lost in his last organization. He comes in and he's making skill plays. He's hanging onto the puck. He's taking hard shots. Like Sorokin robbed him a number of times the blocker from the slot. So he has a hard shot. Kostin played phenomenal. Kostin was just as effective, if not more, than Jesse Puljujarvi at his best last year. Like this to me was an awesome game. Like he was breaking up the Islanders the breakouts, their forecheck. He was disrupting wherever he can. He's definitely a little more effective physically than Jesse Puljujarvi. Jesse Puljujarvi kind of just throws himself into people. Klim Kostin, I think, is a little more of an effective hitter in terms of using it like for actual regain possession and whatnot.
It's almost like when you're throwing a punch, right? When you're learning how to throw a punch, a lot of people just stop, and that seems like kind of what Puljujarvi's doing. He's holding back a little bit. Kostin has that like follow through. He really pushes into guys, which
absolutely
lends a lot more force to it, and that's when when you're playing a physical game, that's what you need to do.
With the reverse hits, right? Like people come at him constantly. Like the Islanders are some big boys on their defense, right? And they're coming at him, and he does not move, and they go flying. Like it is awesome to see. Kostin is a really, really useful piece. Now we just need more of that up and down the lineup, but that's another conversation for another day. But Klim Kostin itself, I would stick him there and run with it. The Yamo McDavid Kostin trio was awesome. And Yamo needed it just as much as Kostin, to be honest with you.
Honestly, yeah, like when he comes down to it, everyone was playing hard tonight. Everyone was going ham. I think the physicality aspect, that's already in traditional media. Let's leave it to them when they're talking about getting a couple of bruisers or whatever. Like we'll leave that conversation to traditional media. But you're right. There's something that differs between just playing physical, making sure that the other team feels pressure, and actually like dropping the gloves, actually like making big hits. You don't always have to do that if you're just making them feel the pressure of a back check, making them feel the pressure of like board play.
He's the perfect modern energy player, if that makes any sense. Like,
and
ideal.
There's a history of like power forwards in this city, right? You think back to your Dustin Penner, your like Patty Maroon, Milan Lucic, right? You think back to these guys and you go, Edmonton doesn't really do so well with power forwards. But we got a team now that is kind of big, right? They don't always play physical, but when they do, it's so fun. Right?
Oh yeah.
We see them hit, we see them score. This team, when they're playing right, can do it all. It's just the issue of sometimes they don't play right.
I totally agree. It's the consistency and being so inconsistent. Like we can, like I think the reason why we're not more happy after a game like this today, like we're happy. I shouldn't use that's not maybe the right terminology to use, but like this is, again, we established this already. This is the expectation, right? The Oilers are capable of doing this night in and night out, whether it's against Boston and Vegas or whether they're playing Columbus. It does not matter. They should be able to carry the play and at least have a chance in every single game. The fact, like 99% of the time when you see the Oilers lose, they're beating themselves. So you can go through 80% of the goals scored against the Oilers. Okay, I shouldn't say 80, maybe 70% of the goals that has been scored against the Oilers this year and point out specific defensive lapses that led directly to those goals, like mistakes that regular teams or teams that are in a good headspace or teams that aren't reeling don't make, right? So
passes that are just absolute pizzas. Like, normally teams have one of those like every 10 games, and you go, oh, what a stinker. The Oilers have one every like 2 games. Yeah, some of them are 5-alarm giveaways too.
Literally, and even tonight, I didn't pause it and go back to watch, and they didn't show a replay on the broadcast, so I might be completely wrong. But with about 9 minutes left, I want to say it was Darnell Nurse made another pass right up the middle, right in the slot, intercepted by Casey Zizekas, and Jack Campbell probably made his biggest save. And I don't know if it's saved by Jack Campbell or CC blocked it or whatever, but that was another instance where I was like, whoa, we need to chill out. And again, this was an awesome game. They dominated 5-on-5. But the signs are still there that they need improvements in other areas. Correct?
Oh yeah. It's 100% sure. Like the defense isn't what it's cracked up to be. You know, like CC's trying his best. I think Kulak's trying his best, but these guys are kind of playing a little bit too high up in the lineup, right? So you feel like you need someone in that like first pairing role, and that's something that we've been harping on for a long time now.
Every game over Edmonton just turns into like a mini TSN trade center, because that's what we spend 15 minutes out of our broadcast always talking about the guy from Arizona. And I said this on Twitter. I was like, I'm almost getting like, I saw like, I think it was Wise Kyle in chat talking about Jacob Chikrin, and I'm literally almost getting sick of talking about Jacob Chikrin, because every time it comes out of my mouth, you just see like how he's like the perfect puzzle piece and whatever, and you just know like there's a 99.9% chance it's not going to happen.
Zach, what if it's a Bloody Mary situation? If you say it enough times on stream, it'll actually show up.
I know. I wish I'll do whatever I got to do, but you just know, and you set yourself up for disappointment. I was there a couple of years ago when Taylor Hall was getting traded from Arizona, or I want to say from Buffalo. I was so sure that he was coming back to Edmonton, and I remember listening. I was literally walking around my house the night when it looked like he was on the move, listening to "Coming Home" by Diddy just over and over. And I thought we were going to right so many wrongs that night, but he went to Arizona, and I shed a tear.
Give it up, man. Give it up. They're not coming back. There's so many guys that I'm just like, you know what hurt me most? The fact that Gags didn't come back. The fact that Gagne chose not to sign here over the offseason and went to the Jets.
The rumor with Gagne was that Ken Holland offered him a PTO, and he was gonna take it, I think. But then Winnipeg came out of nowhere and offered him a guaranteed contract, right? And then, like, I don't know why you just wouldn't offer him a contract. Like, you signed Greg McKegg to the same contract that Sam Gagne is on. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Yeah. But whatever. That's
you got a league minimum contract in Devon Shore.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, multi-year deal, Devon Shore. Shore didn't play. We can't be talking about Shore, because that'll also fill up a lot of time. That we just
don't want to talk about. We're trying to be positive.
Yeah, I've been so negative. I feel like there's just been so much negative energy and so much sadness associated with the Oilers. Like, my mental health through January, like, already, it's rough. It's getting dark early. You're not doing much. You're staying home. It's a minus a million outside. But and then it doesn't help when the Oilers are just getting constantly beat up and clowned on by the rest of the NHL, right?
This is what it's like to be an Oilers fan, man. Like, we had 10 years of this, so hey,
yeah, literally. It's just, man, it's unbelievable. You have a guy on pace to have like 150 to 160 points, and again, we can get into the negative talk if you want, and you're still just teetering on a wild card spot, like.
No, let's twist it. Let's twist it back into a positive. Obviously, we're talking about McDavid and Draisaitl, just absolute superhumans, right? So, of course, tonight, McDavid getting his 500th career assist, and then right afterwards, Leon getting his 400th career assist. What do you think about that? Just these guys.
It feels like these guys have a milestone, 4 times a year, 5 times a year. Like, I said this on our last show with Liz, but for me as an Oilers fan, I don't care. Like, it's cool. Like, congratulations. Yamo's going to live in infamy when McDavid goes into the Hockey Hall of Fame. I'm sure that Yamo pass or the Yamo goal, because it was a super nice toe drag.
It was a nice goal.
Absolutely. A guy needed it too. Like, if there's one thing the Oilers need, it's production from Puljujarvi and Yamo. And I know we've said this before, this got to get Yamo going, and he's going to live in infamy with that goal. But yeah, obviously it's not what else is new. They're amazing. Like, when
you talk about Oilers that live in infamy with one goal, there's another guy that comes to mind, and he's sliding down center ice. But we'll not talk about that.
One of my favorite Oilers goals of all time. But even Yak even had an appearance on the broadcast today, right? He was, I think McDavid's his first.
Oh yeah. That was the goal. Yeah, McDavid's first.
Yeah, so to have a Yak sighting on the broadcast is always nostalgic.
He's
Love
back.
seeing him show up. Yeah.
What's he doing right now?
I think he's in the KHL. I think he's I don't know, last I heard, I think he had like 4 points in 12 games, and he was really mad about what Devin Dubnyk said about him on the DFO rundown. And that's all we've heard about. Yeah. Honestly, though.
Fuck it, revenge tour, man. Get Yak back. I want Linus Omark. I want Magnus Pyarvi.
I would. All three of those guys would be significant upgrades on Devon Shore. Significant.
Bring them all back. Bring them all back. Exercise some demons here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Lindsay, my dog's in the back, and usually I keep him outside of my room, but he was already lying on my bed when I came in here, and as long as he doesn't bark, it's not a problem. It seems like he's pretty tired, but yeah, that's my dog Teddy. So tonight we got a victory puppy. Yeah, Teddy.
Let's go. Victory Teddy.
Yeah.
Make sure you feed Teddy some treats for us later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he wakes up.
He will. He will be up and barking. So yeah. Appreciate it.
Like honestly, there's so many things that have gone wrong in the past. So with Oilers making trades too late, too early. Right now, you know what? We keep harping on the fact that we need trades. We need some guys to get in here and fix up our defense. But if we're getting goals, if we're getting wins, and not just from the big guns, we're getting them from people who might be pieces going back the other way. That's just good trade value, and that's fine.
Totally, dude. Just from a pure perspective right now, like an in-house one. If Holloway, McLeod, Yamo, Pouliot, these are guys that should be scoring, and they
Broberg.
not
scoring, but
forwards. Yeah. But no, totally. Broberg should be contributing more than he has been. I do think Broberg played excellent. Broberg, I have zero complaints about him through his entire Oilers tenure. Still on the trade Broberg train, but I think he's been awesome, and he's going to develop into a solid defenseman.
At least you entertain it, right? You entertain.
I do more than
thought.
entertain it. I shoot him out of a cannon. I do not care.
There's nothing that says I'm gonna ship him, but if a team is willing to value him and you can get good rewards, like a Gavrikov, right?
No.
Brober for Gavrikov, you wouldn't do
nuts?
that?
No way. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so direct, but
no, not Broberg and a first, but
I would not do Broberg for Gavrikov. Okay, Vladislav Gavrikov is Brett Kulak, but more physical. That's literally Gavrikov. We gave up a second and William Lagesson for Vladislav Gavrikov or for Brett Kulak, and we ended up signing Kulak for 4 more years. The rumor is Gavrikov wants $5 million. His comparables are Ben Sherratt, David Savard, just because of the physicality. I think he's a little more mobile than them. No way in hell would I give up Philip Broberg, just based on the fact that he's a UFA. Even if he had term.
True, his contract is one of the pieces that kind of is. He's 100% rental.
And I said this. I know. I truly, truly, truly believe this. I've heard this. That Bill Armstrong is one of the if there's any team that's high on Philip Broberg besides the Edmonton Oilers. It's the Arizona Coyotes. They have, when he was at the World Juniors of Sweden, he was paired with one of their top prospects, Victor Soderstrom, and that's when they played their best hockey. I know Arizona would be very interested in him. Obviously, it would take a lot more, but I think that's the move. That's whether you're bringing in Sam Girard or Josh Mann. I went through this in the last podcast, but
don't get me wrong. I would 100% prefer Chychrun over Gavrikov.
I would move a first for Gavrikov. Personally.
But personally, I don't think that's a great trade, but that's what the market is asking for right now, right?
To me, there aren't many rentals, at least in the defensive market, that are that appealing to me. I might be completely out to lunch, but to me, it's time for that big, sexy move that you see every team make at least once in their championship window. Am I wrong for saying that? And you could say Evander Kane was that, but to me that was such a different situation because you get him in for $1 million. You had no clue what he was going to be, and he's been everything you could ever ask for and more. But the fact of the matter is, when he comes back, it's not going to be like last year. He's not going to be 100%. Clearly, like when you get cut
True.
like that, you're not going to be at 100%. He won't be able to be as impactful physically just because he won't be able to fight and stuff like that. Not that he's ever dropped the gloves in an Oilers jersey before. Who knows what a shot's going to be like? Again, he's going to be good and he's going to score. But when Evander Kane got injured, the Oilers record was 8-8, right? Yeah. It's not like Evander Kane was keeping goals out of the net. And the problem is keeping goals out of the net.
True. I think, if the Oilers actually come out and say that's their deadline acquisition, we're not making any big trades, I think you lose a lot of faith. This market will lose a lot of faith in Ken Holland. And, this is his last year as a GM, right? So when you think about it,
last year?
I think it's the last year of his 5.
I'm pretty sure this is 4 out of 5. I might be wrong.
I might be wrong as well.
It's really hard. I think Cap Friendly has a executive thing. I'm not even sure. I'm guessing I'm guessing.
Tweet at us if we're wrong.
Yeah, if anyone in the chat wants to let us know how many years Ken Holland has left on his, Jack Campbell contract. But
no, honestly, like this is near towards the end of his contract, right?
Yes.
I don't know at his age, is he gonna want another contract?
Maybe this
is the time where he just goes, hey, fuck it, let's make a big trade, even if it blows up in my face. I'm out of here.
I hope, I wish, but the thing is, like, does he have that in him? And I guess we have to see, because like I do think that he knows, and the Oilers media, like Edmonton's a fishbowl. They listen, they know, they read the Sportsnet articles. So whatever you say, whatever some of these people are putting out there, like that is the thought process within the Edmonton Oilers management.
True.
For me, again, none of the rentals, at least on defense, I find very attractive. Yes, I also think there's teams like Toronto who want defense as well. I think they want a defenseman, and they're like, I think Toronto will be willing to pay more for Gavrikov than Edmonton is.
Well, here's the weird thing to say as well, right? Like Edmonton, even though we are so tight to the cap, so many teams are already, the fact that we actually have a decent amount of contract space, like the 50 max contracts that we can sign, is helping us a lot when it comes down to like trade deadline. Because you look at teams like Vegas, like Toronto, like Tampa, there's quite a few that are right. There's quite a few that are at like 50, like 49. They are tough. Invasion of the bots. Let's get rid of that. But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like the fact that we actually have contract room makes like three-way deals possible, multiplayer deals possible.
It's a matter of moving out money, and for the right defenseman, I might be nuts, but I'm willing to move out like Yamamoto even a salary in a deal that brings in the right player, and he's turning it back on, and we are seeing it. But like, to me, that core piece on the defense is just so important. Like, to me, if they don't get someone really good, like, I just can't, like, are they better than they were last year? Right now. And they were swept in the conference finals. And unless we're pulling a Nashville Predators and we're raising banners for, 1-8 games in the playoffs.
Colorado's not the same team that they were.
But still, that's the bar, right? Like, that's who won the cup. Whether it's not, okay, you beat Colorado, you go to the finals, you lose to Boston in 4. Like, okay, you won 4 more games. Congratulations. Like, what's the difference, right? Like, when you have Connor McDavid, unless you need to win a Stanley Cup, you have 3 more years. We've said this a million times. The best guy on the market right now, the guy that every person with a brain thinks they should be targeting, no offense to anyone without a brain, is Jacob Chicker.
Well, obviously. Yeah, and there were people who were opposed to it, and even like, I think you're right.
Who was opposed?
Most certain media guys, even guys who are a little bit more traditional in the thinking, they're starting to turn around. It's always been acquisition cost that's the real issue for like a Chychrun.
Well, and I understand that from 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But if there's any team that is in the position to push those chips in and move a Broberg, move your first, like move the next three first, literally, who cares?
It's
like,
the team that has the two best players.
Yeah,
in the world.
like what are we waiting for? Like, are we waiting to get and draft another one of another guy like Connor and Leon? Like, what are we?
Another Connor who's a generational talent?
I know, one gold medal today. Like, what are we waiting for? I just don't understand. And like you said, Holland's not gonna be here forever. Like everything is lining up for that big chip push in the middle. So it's weird that we haven't heard more about it. I have one person to ask you about. Before I do that, I just want to say we have 28 people watching right now. We are at 24 likes, but you guys are probably different than the people who liked it. So hit that like button. At least I said 55. Let's try and get 55 after the stream. Right now, let's try and at least end the stream with 30 likes. But for me, one guy whose name has come up on the market recently and who's been on the market, I swear he's been on the move rumored for the last like 4 years, is Matthias Ekholm. What do you think? What do you like? To me, he's way better than Gavrikov.
But I just don't like his contract. Because here's the thing, right? Like Gavrikov is a 1-year experiment. Because the other thing is, if they don't jive, if they don't fit, you gotta find ways to offload. That's a whole nother set of issues. How many years extra does Ekholm have? Like
4. He's in the first year of his 4 years. So he has more term than Chychrun.
But Chychrun's on an amazing deal. The only thing that might hurt him is that Chychrun is frequently hurt. But
so is Broberg.
Yeah, like at this point in his career, yeah, Broberg's been hurt quite a few times as well. And at this point
in his career, Jacob Chychrun was significantly ahead of where Philip Broberg is. Like if you go look just at their hockey beats, I was comparing them the other day. And
it's just the other thing where Chychrun's not old. He's not like an old player who's slowing down.
I think he's 2 or 3 years older than Broberg. Like if you put it in that perspective, it's really not that much.
Exactly. But meanwhile, someone who's like Ekholm is on a not
he's 32.
So
he's
not that great of a deal.
He's 6.25.
Yeah, like the deal is not as good as the Chychrun deal. He's older. Logically, you think that a 32-year-old's going to start slumping down.
Yes.
Oof to my 30-year-old heart.
Ekholm still is though. Above average, like really good. Like if he came in, he would be. I like. There is an argument to be made that he would be their best defenseman. Like you could reasonably have that conversation.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's be a foregone conclusion. Obviously, and I agree with you. He's making over $2 million more, or just about $2 million more than Jacob Chychrun. So obviously, you don't want that. But to me, again, when your window is those next couple years, whatever, Ekholm is not the end of the world. He's not my number one target by any means, but I would rather give up these assets for someone with term. I don't want to see all these assets go out the door and that was be left with nothing standing still. Because to me, all the attractive assets that we know are on the market do have term left. Like, and I see people talking about, and the only one without term or with term that did not do anything for me was Joel Edmondson, who I saw Wise Kyle bring up.
Yeah, I think Wise Kyle also confirmed for us Holland's done next season, not this season.
Yes.
So 23-24.
Appreciate it, Wise Kyle.
Yeah, like Joel Edmondson, I don't have time for, unless it's something that makes more sense. Like the fact that a first is being called for Edmondson at all is already like, okay,
disgusting.
No.
They have to pay us to take Edmondson if we're taking him. Well, did you see what Andrew tweeted about him today? Andrew's
no, I haven't.
That's like 4 failed breakout attempts in a row for Joel Edmondson that were like direct grade A chances against the Montreal Canadiens, right? Like Montreal fans don't like him. They want him gone. Somehow we're willing to give up all these assets. When St. Louis won the cup, he was frequently a healthy scratch. Like, yeah, he's just not it. Like,
if he's coming in as like a depth defenseman, someone who's like, hey, you can fill in as like a 4, 5, 6, like I'm fine with that. But no, he's not what we need. If we need a top pairing defenseman, which is the same thing I would say about like Shen. I think Shen coming out of Vancouver, great deal. He's won cups, so
he'll cost more though just because of how cheap he is.
He's so cheap, and the fact that if you're a contender and you do have you're missing some of that veteran depth that says, "Hey, calm down, kids. Like it's
Like,
not over till
I
it's
could
over."
see Tampa being interested in Luke Shen. I could see
Oh
Toronto
yeah.
being interested. Like, there's gonna be a big market for those type of guys, right? And that's why I think the Oilers got to focus elsewhere. They got to put their chips in on the guy like Jacob Chikrin, who they're competing with teams like Ottawa, LA, whatever.
Because Shen's not going to come in here and take that like number one, number two role
No,
either.
it needs to
So
be impact. It needs to shift the dynamic of the way the team plays completely. You need to feel like you have another guy that you can put up there with your Kane, Hyman, Nuge, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nurse. You need, and you need it to be a defenseman. Like Tampa had Hedman, McDonough. You had McCarr, Mance. Like every defense is built just elite, solid guys playing above where they are capable of, or below where they are capable of playing. Sorry, right?
they're supposed to be playing down because of the fact that, hey, if you have someone who gets injured, which happens a lot during the playoffs, the next man up mentality, someone's not swamped going into playing more minutes. They're coming in and they're saying, hey, finally, like I get to flex a little bit here. A lot of hate on Edmondson in the chat. Good. Safe to say that, yeah, oil country doesn't really want Edmondson. They're feeding us something a lot in the traditional media about Joel Edmondson.
I think it's
that might
down.
be a telling sign.
And there was a podcast, I'm not sure anyone watches Ryan Rashog's podcast. I didn't watch the full podcast, so I just saw the clips, but it seems like the tide is turning a little bit on Jacob Chikrin. You had LeBrun, you had Dreger, you had all these guys that were saying, like, Craig Button, that's the move. Have
you noticed? Yeah, all four of them, I think it's the Get Your Back pod, like all four of them immediately switched to a like, no, this is the answer. He's the guy. Why haven't we gone out and got him yet? How fast the turntables, right?
Oh yeah, totally, dude. It's and let's see where that goes. That's again, anything those guys say. I know that was more of an opinion, but it's still coming from somewhere. They don't like to be perceived as being wrong a lot of the time, right? So to see them say stuff like that, like, let's see where it goes. The key will be if you see the articles from Sportsnet do a big switch up on Jacob Chikrin. But yeah, no matter what, this always turns into a version of SDPN Trade Center.
We tried not to talk about Jacob Chikrin, but we did. But hey, that's all right. Hey, let's touch on one more thing. I mean, there were a couple of minutes where a lot of Oilers fans probably tuned away from the game. It's because Canada did win in overtime, 3-2. Yeah, just a great tournament by Czechia. But Edmonton can be so proud tonight. The Oilers won, and also Dylan Guenther from your Edmonton Oil Kings ended up scoring the golden goal in 3v3 overtime. Just an amazing goal as well. Just a beautiful play.
Full disclosure, you want to know something funny? So when the Oilers, I don't know what exactly happened. It was like 13 minutes left in the first or something, and I can't remember what the exact situation was, but either the Oilers were going to the power play really early on in the game. Sorokin had robbed 97 right in the slot. The Oilers were going to the power play for whatever reason, and it went to a TV timeout. And I don't know what happened in my brain, if I was just overtired. I was like, oh, sweet, intermission. Perfect time to put on the World Juniors. And I just watched like 6 consecutive minutes of the World Juniors overtime until I saw the goal. Then I switched back to the Oilers game and I saw there were 7 minutes left. I was like, what the hell?
And you're like, I forgot.
And I got back right when Leon scored the power play goal. And I was like, what? I don't know. That was one of the biggest brain farts I've ever had watching hockey. I don't know how that happened. It went to TV timeout. And I was like, intermission. Perfect.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
When you're watching commercials, you go, I don't want to watch commercials. Flip the channel, and then boom, they get you on another channel, and you're not going back, even though we have a job to do.
I was drawn right in. I went shit, and then in the intermission, I had to go back and watch all the stuff that I missed, or at least watch the power play. But I didn't miss too much. I know I missed a really good defensive play from Evan Bouchard, but that pairing was awesome tonight. Yes. Don't really have many complaints. It was just an awesome game, I think, from top to bottom. I think we I don't know if we touched on this on the show, but probably the weakest link on the forward core was Matisse Janmark.
Yeah, but like, Janmark didn't really stand out. There were a couple plays where you think that he could have made a better play, especially during some of the breakouts.
I say Matthias Janmark has this ability where he's kind of like Warren Fogelitis, right? Like he just has the ability to turn something into nothing or nothing into something, but then 99% of the time always turns that something that he created right back into nothing. You know what I mean? And
sometimes players just disappear, but that's okay because this is the fact of we're watching the best players in the NHL play, and the fact that sometimes you see guys like Connor McDavid that are again literally superhuman. It makes like a regular guy like Janmark just kind of look he's kind of bad.
MGD in the chat says Matthias Janmark was a -2 tonight, and to me, oh man, that is horrible.
Was he?
Like, yeah, I didn't even look.
Well, yeah, he was a -2. Wow.
So in this game to be a -2 to me, I mean, if Warren Vogel's healthy, he's got to come in for Matthias Janmark. Like that's got to be like to me when Kane's healthy, Janmark's the guy who goes down.
Honestly,
you'll have to clear cap.
100%. Like you just got a lot of replacement level guys, right? Right now we're a little bit more, shall we say, enlightened in modern day statistics, and we get to say things like, yeah, this player is just a replacement level player. Yeah. But end of the day, like Janmark would smoke us. Right, even if we're playing ball hockey, he would smoke us.
Bro, Ben Scrivens literally right now would smoke me. Like this is not everyone would. I understand what you're saying,
but it's like when you're looking at especially the players that we have on Edmonton, who are some of the best players in the league. There's times when regular looking guys just seem bad. I just wanted to touch on the World Juniors, but hey, Zach, let's spend a little bit of time getting ready for our next show because we got a very special guest.
We have a huge guest, huge, one of the biggest guests so far to join Game Over Edmonton. We're gonna go on a string of guests. I don't know if I did say the other one on a past show. I don't know if you should say it again, but on Saturday, right after the game, Dennis and I on Game Over will be joined by Jordan Buhat, Edmonton native, actor on their hit show Grownish on ABC, City TV, Disney Plus. Yeah. So I think it was ABC Spark actually. I don't know.
He's gonna be heated because we're playing the Avalanche for the first time since that since the postseason. They're pretty banged up. Like they're missing Landeskog, they're missing Manson. Who they're missing a ton of guys.
They aren't the Avalanche that beat the Oilers, like not even close right now. It's gonna be a blast with Jordan. Super nice guy from everything I've heard. I've only talked to him in the DM. Super excited to actually talk to him over Zoom, get to know him a little bit, and let you guys know what it's like to be an Oilers fan in Hollywood, which
superstar.
Is cool. Yeah, literally. It's gonna be really cool. So we'll find out all that from him.
It'll be an amazing show. If you guys come in next time, bring your friends, let them know. Game Over Edmonton next Saturday, January 7th at 8 p.m. is the puck drop. Zach and I will be with special guest Jordan Buhat. That's it for us tonight. I think we went on for nearly an hour show.
Oh, jeez. It's the trade talk. Things
get a little heated. Hey, you know what? At least we tried to be positive tonight, and I think we did a pretty good job. High five, Zach.
Yes, high five. Let's play La Bamba, baby. Everyone have a good night. Play La Bamba, hit the like button one more time. Have a good night. See you next show.
Have a good night. See you next show.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.